Hello, everybody. And
Hello.
thank you, Gabriela, for the space. I think it's a really quite interesting topic. Actually, that one, like my right hand, how to say that in English? Like the one, yeah, my right hand? No,
Yeah, your
that's his
right hand.
hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, my right hand. It
Yeah.
sounds like that.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yes, he quit like the last week and he changed
Oh.
the job. And I was like, and he's Gen Z, right? So
Mhm.
like what are their motivations, what drives them. So I found this topic really interesting.
Oh, that's good to know. Good to know. Hopefully, you will walk away with some insights, and yeah, because now all of us are working with them.
Of course,
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. So hopefully, you will
So,
take some. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I was just gonna say that we could start the session, but welcome everyone to our Landa learning session. It's a type of event where we invite Landa members to host the session based on their expertise. And today we have Gabriela Espinosa de los Monteros as our guest. And she joined Landa in the last cohort. She was a very engaged member, and she's a CHRO and has over 30 years of expertise and experience. So she has a lot to share with you. And this session is going to focus on how to lead and intergenerational teams, but especially Gen Z. So we have a lot to discuss. And yeah, the stage is yours, Gabby. Thank you.
Thanks, Via, and thanks everyone. Thanks for joining, for your time and interest. And I should say that because of the 30 years that Via mentioned, I'm a baby boomer, so it's completely nice. And I was telling Via to be working with this intriguing Gen Z, as I'd say, because we will find, hopefully, we will find something that could be interesting for you and their development. So I was spent years in HR, and honestly, the generation that has taught me the most about leadership isn't my own. That shouldn't surprise us because every generation we have thought that the next one is easier, has it easier, but we are wrong. So probably, and as Nicolas was mentioning, we have been working with people under 30, and probably they have made us feel a little uncomfortable as leaders. So again, Gabriela Espinosa de los Monteros, fractional CHRO based in Mexico City, and as Via said, recent graduate of cohort 21. I want to thank the Landa team for this opportunity to discuss with you this generation, this group of people. We all talk about them, and this group age is 14 to 29, and I have heard sometime probably to, to kind of downsize what they are, that they call them the crystal generation. I think it would be interesting for this audience to understand more about them, as you may be having relatives or probably your clients might be working with people of this generation, and many of them are working already and active in the economy. So my objective here is to have a better understanding of who they are and what they want. So first question I made myself, so what is a generation? So before we start, let me see if I can click. Yeah, can you see the slide?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So in 1928, the German sociologist Karl Mannheim came with the idea that a generation is formed when a group of people goes through the similar historical, economical, technological, or cultural events their young years, so probably between 15 and 25. And those are translated into the way that they interpret the world. So for instance, the formative years of baby boomers in general were the post-World War II economic growth and the creation of solid institutions. Gen X was marked by the economic crisis and women entering. Oh, excuse me, just a little because I have my dog.
No worries. Does your dog want to join the call?
I think she does. All right, thank you. So Gen X also went through early globalization. Millennials, they saw the birth of internet, accelerated globalization, and the global financial crisis of 2008. So here I would like to pause and ask you, what would be, or what in your mind are the events that have shaped those beliefs and expectations of Gen Z? Who would like to venture some ideas?
Sorry, Gen Z is millennials here or for
Gen,
after millennials?
Gen Z is after millennials, yes. So they are quite close, but they are not the same age group. Today, they would be between 15 and 29.
I would say social media, for example.
Social
Yeah.
media, exactly. Yes.
I like idea.
Yeah. So, in social
Screen.
media, excuse me,
Yeah, all the screen
all
phase.
this, yes, exactly. So they are using smartphones from their adolescence, social networks, and these social networks are having the I'm trying to change here, are having the two sides, because they keep you connected, but then there's a lot of pressure because they are always comparing themselves to other people. Excuse me, because my here. So as you said, they are always in the screen. They went through the COVID-19 pandemic in their very young years, and pandemic, as you know, caused isolation and uncertainty. They also grew with the, or are growing with the climate change, global climate change situations, and the start of the AI era. So think of this in terms of how rapidly changes are impacting people. The radio was invented in 1943, and it reached 50 million people in a period of approximately 34 years. ChatGPT reached the same number of people in just months. So that's the type of speed at which Gen Z has been impacted. So it's no wonder that they are very anxious. We know that the world has changed radically and rapidly. The effects of socioeconomic and historic changes mark the behaviors, beliefs, and expectations of Gen Z. And these behaviors, beliefs, and expectations reflect what the previous generations had somehow created. So maybe all of us here. In that sense, it's not necessarily that Gen Zers are inadequate in the workplace. It's rather that their viewpoint is very different from other generations. Why is that? Deloitte conducted a global survey last year and found that Gen Zers are not rejecting responsibility per se. So we see here that 14% are taking on management responsibilities, just like previous Gen Xers or boomers. And what Deloitte found is that they look at their managers, and they don't want the kind of leadership that past generations had. Why is that? Because their leaders are at best prepared to be supervisors, focusing on admin matters. But what Gen Zers want is managers to be their mentors. Someone who, based on their experience and knowledge, will teach them in a mentor-apprentice relationship, not as a boss subordinate. So that's a point for reflection. Deloitte's survey included more than 23,000 people, Gen Zers and millennials from more than 40 countries. And the results that I'm showing here relate only to Gen Zers. So they say that what they want from leaders is guidance, inspiration, support, mentoring, and not supervision of daily routines. They don't want to be micromanaged, and they also don't want to be totally abandoned to their own devices. What Deloitte found was that many millennials vow to be different than their leaders, but due to the pressing environment, they have fallen on the same leadership style. So that's also disappointing for Gen Zers. If you look at the graph here at the right, to the right of your screen, you will see what Gen Zers think their managers should have versus what they do in reality. So we see gaps in all of them, and particularly guidance and support, and inspire and motivate. So we need to provide them with guidance and support and inspire and motivate them. Their baseline of stress levels are higher than the previous generations. So that's because they have been constantly exposed to global crisis and rapid economic change, technological change as well. Because of the social networks, I was telling you, they normally compare themselves to others, and economic uncertainty, as well as other frequent exposure to information, have made them handle uncertainty and authority in a very different way. Here are 4 explicit asks to thrive at work in big buckets. Please be my mentor. Help me develop my skills and help me grow. Be genuine in what you and the company stand for, and consider that living under constant stress is not good, and that's not what I want. Their values are engagement, trust, collaboration, sharing, and happiness. And probably that's why some people confound Crystal generation with the values that this generation has. And you will notice that because they are very inclined to topics such as sustainability and diversity, equity, and inclusion. All of these more social topics that probably were not in the agendas of previous generations, they have them top of mind. So another thing important is this generation does not live to work, they work to live. And they want to choose their life according to their expectations and the sense that they want to give to their actions. Once they join the workforce, they have made a conscious decision that they want to join, of course, an organization, and they want to see the relationship not as a collaborator per se, not someone who is integrating to an organization, but they want to be engaged from a personal rather than a professional viewpoint, because the frontier, because these two spheres do not exist anymore. They have disappeared. This generation was born with a relationship to space different than others, and that's why businesses need to make arrangements for flexibility in their work environment. And also the constant contact with knowledge at a click has changed the way in which learning is taking place in the workplace. Also, the innovation processes are being modified by these trends, or trends in their living. So I will make a pause here and ask if there is any reflection, if there are any rings that are ringing to you, bells that are ringing to you, so that we can have some discussion, some conversation here. Has anyone worked with people under 30, and have you recognized some of those traits and the asks that they have for us, previous generations?
I can share. As someone that is between Gen Z and millennial, I'm about to turn 29 this year. So from what you say here, I would be Gen Z, but sometimes I feel like I'm a bit millennial, so because I was in the gap, the bridge between the two of them. But yeah, I would say that I can relate a lot with that. And so yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me.
All right. Thank you, Via. And these are values that it's not that other generations we didn't have them, but they are more upfront, and they are very willing to show them and to be this new generation that I hope really they will make the world a better place to live, precisely because of those aspirations. So thanks, Via. Let's move on. And Omer Usams gives us some further recommendations to be better mentors for these generations. So I've put them into 6 different buckets. Let's go through each of them. So first one, Gen Zers need to feel safe enough to be honest about their fears, their skill gaps, and aspirations. As a mentor, you need to be empathetic, an active listener, and very patient. Begin your session with personal check-ins instead of getting straight into the tasks. So how are you doing today? Things like that, small talk that helps break the ice. They often feel anxious when roles or instructions are vague, so clearly define expectations. Explain what success looks like, what they as mentees are responsible for, so it's not all on you. Establish periodic meetings, agreeing what's the preferred way to communicate, set goals, milestones, checkpoints, because all of this will reduce ambiguity and therefore they will be sources of stress. So you need to avoid them. Third, Gen Zers prefer to have real-time feedback that is actionable, specific, and delivered with empathy instead of waiting until the annual performance review. This does not mean that they want constant criticism, but it means that they want clarity and just not guessing games. Some ways to introduce this kind of feedback is, here's one thing you did well, or here's how I work this skill myself. So it means that you are sharing your experience, and that's what they are expecting from you. Remember the mentoring part. Don't coach, but don't command. They want independence, but not abandonment. So they want to try things on their own while knowing that someone is available if they somehow. Mentors should use a coaching approach rather than top-down instructions. Ask guiding questions instead of just giving direct answers, letting mentees make decisions, and then reflecting together on outcomes. Give them the room for experimentation, even if mistakes happen. Encourage ownership of projects and next steps. With this approach, you will help them build the confidence they need, the resilience that they need, and they are traits that they often struggle to develop independently. So, and that's because they fear failure or the so-called comparison culture. They learn best by doing, so hands-on projects, role play, simulations, etc., and not theoretical lectures. Another one is about career trajectory. Let them know that today's career journey is not linear, and talk about your own journey. Ask open-ended questions to promote reflection and clarify that mentoring is a partnership, but not an evaluation, because that will put a barrier between you. This generation enters the workforce with uncertainty. They are unsure what long-term career stability looks like. They haven't seen it. Which industry are future-proof, if any, and how to go about rapid technological change. Many feel pressure about unrealistic milestones and failing in their professional career. And that's also because of LinkedIn and social media, because everyone is exposing nice stories and they feel they don't have them. So help them map their skills, have long-term opportunities for development, and make a difference between what is hype and what is a realistic career path that they can aspire to. Guidance on career development is especially valuable for Gen Zers to build their confidence and esteem. The last bucket I put here is they want to work for organizations that are conscious and care about sustainability. I told you about this. They want equity, well-being, meaningful contributions, and you as a mentor should explore how your mentee's role connects to the broader impact in the organization. Explain how their work contributes to the company goals, connect tasks to real-world outcomes, support diversity and inclusion initiatives, and discuss ethical leadership and the responsibilities they have when making decisions. Last not least, when the pressure is up, remember that there are three main drivers for underperformance. One of them is long hours that lead to burnout, lack of recognition, or toxic culture. I will pause here and let me know if you have any comments or questions about all of these things that we have seen. David.
Gabriela, I read this, and I think there is so much difference between the today leadership and those people and today leadership to the whole group. I don't know. Maybe the one that builds psychological, maybe we have to be more careful, yes. But all of the other ones, I think that are in the same line or guidance, but to when I read define, actionable, be specific, linked us to company goals, yeah, all of those are today, I don't know, pillars of a good leadership in the independent of the age or type of gene or whatever, right?
Indeed. Yeah, indeed. You have a good point. The thing is that when pressure comes, probably some leaders, or probably the majority of leaders, skip those good practices and they start to be vague. They do not have a lot of clarity about the goals, or maybe they have a goal in mind at the beginning of the year, but by month 3, they are already changing and there's not communication about it. So that's what they don't want, because they don't want to make mistakes. And I think the pace at which we are living now, all of us in general, sometimes makes us forget or take for granted that if I thought about this, my younger person thought about it as well. Feedback is something that is also important, because and everything is changing, I was telling you, we need to change and modify our processes, because how many of you have known the annual performance reviews? But they don't want that anymore. So they want, tell me what is happening now so that I can course correct immediately. And that is a difference. Career trajectory. I think it's starting to be more normal, that it's not a linear succession of roles, but you have like a jungle gym that you can go to the side and maybe one step down if you change area and then still move up. But some leaders, and probably more the boomers generations, they thought that career was only up. And when they see a lot of their peers or in the same group age saying, I have been named manager, director, you see a lot of young people now leading organizations, and they might feel frustrated if they do not understand that it's not one way up, it's just probably like that. And yes, there are careers that are more straightforward, but that's not the generality, and it won't be the generality in the next few years either. And probably the last point that I would like to mention about how they are different from other generations is the connect to work, the work to purpose. I need to say that some of my colleagues and Gen Xers, I would say, they were doing this or making these jokes about diversity, about women. They take for granted that women are only for certain roles, but not this generation. They are more egalitarian, and I think that is a big step ahead. But would somebody else have any other comment or reflection?
Hi. I think there's also in the space where we are right now, we also need to remember that there's a certain degree of self-selection. We might feel that these are normal trait of managers because some of us do practice them, but in that same spirit of self-selection, we are here trying to understand them. So it means that we already different from a lot of managers that are just putting them in buckets and they're like, well, they're Gen Zs, I can't deal with them, like some of my friends that I'm speaking with right now. who, for the love of God, would not sit here and have a conversations about Gen Z and rather put them in a crystal box. And that also speaks of managers, who lack certain skills about dealing with career trajectory, about dealing with feedback, about dealing with guiding questions rather than direct answers, and so forth. And I would also like to add that they're also the Gen Zs, at least in my experience, they're also in this very weird space because they're seeing the world that is changing, but most of them are still very much connected to their families and their homes. So for them, the growth that their parents miss and the time that their parents miss and the economic growth that their parents miss it's very, very real. So they have this evidence in front of them 24/7 about these people who followed that path and didn't get it. And they know that their path needs to be different, but they also hear from these people that in a weird turn of events that they have to follow the same path that they did. So they are in a very strange ¿cómo se llama? Spiral, let's put it like that. At least that's the sense that I get from the ones that I speak with.
Yeah, thank you, Telman. And I think you have also a point here. This is a transition, and it's a worldwide. It's not only Mexico or whatever country we have close. It's worldwide, and in a transition, you lose something, you find out how to get to the new desired state. So that's part of the ambivalence that they are living now. Thanks. Anna?
Hi, I just want to add something that Telma was saying. I think they're overwhelmed. Like, I'm a millennial, I'm not Gen Z, and I get overwhelmed. Like, I actually kind of I deactivate my social media once in a while because I feel overwhelmed, and it's hard for me to focus when I'm getting so much information about like everything. So I've noticed this is something I've done this year, that when I step away from social media for a month, or for two, it helps me. I feel like emotionally better, and if I'm emotionally better, I feel like I'm more productive. So like I can imagine like for them to grow, like to like be born on this, like for them it's normal. Like in a way, I feel like for me, like I know it's optional because I grew up without social media, but for them, maybe like I think might be hard to understand that it's optional, like to, and also maybe not, because I started to notice that, for example, thinking about social media, not specifically about like their personal lives, not specifically about like professional lives. Like I remember they started to not post a lot of pictures or covering their faces because they feel the pressure that everything has to be perfect, versus us millennials that we used to take picture of everything, making faces and posting everything. So we like, well, me as a millennial, we have use social media to expose ourselves, to cover, like we have experienced social media in different like kind of like different ways. But for Gen Z, it's more like a spot, like a place to, like what you were saying, like on LinkedIn, everything is success. For them, there is no other option. Like if you're not successful yet, like don't even use LinkedIn. Like what are you doing there? So yeah, like I'm pretty sure they're overwhelmed. So also what David was saying, like it looks like the slide that we're like looking at right now, it looks like something normal, but I think for them we have to explaining to them because they have so much information. So I think it's something that I also have noticed, that you need to highlight what's important because there's so much. So in a way, like even if it sounds that it's something like common sense, that it might not be for them because there's a lot of information. So it's just like highlight what's important, not because they don't know.
Yeah, thank you, Anna. And I appreciate your millennial viewpoint. And I think there is indeed this overwhelming amount of information that they have here at their fingertips. And they are also, every time they are comparing themselves to X, Y, and Z because they have better jobs, more beautiful lives, I don't know. And that is something very wrenching in terms of the way they feel internally. So yeah, we need to take that into consideration. Thanks, Anna.
Thank you.
Ivan, please.
Hey guys. So I'm a Gen Z, so I'm gonna begin with that context. I've been poorly mentored. I've been nicely mentored. I've mentored Gen Z, so and I've acted as Gen Z, of course. But I think there's some things. I mean, everything you said, I think is spot on. There's some things to stand out from what Thelma and Anna had said. I think the generation is overwhelmed. I think that is like the main thing, and that causes a lot of implications where they are a bit more ADHD than usual. They're very easily distractible because they grew
Yes.
up with Instagram. They have 70 tabs. They have their phone, their notifications, and they are not that capable as other generations to be like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna quit Instagram. Like I'm just gonna stop, right? So I think that's one thing to consider is kind of like that distractibility can also influence a bit into their how they work. Um, because of that overwhelm. And the second is like you have to notice that many of those Gen Zs are also in their 20s, right? And in that gap of their 20s, mid 20s, late 20s, you're in that place where you see everyone, some people traveling, some people advancing, some people having a great career. So there's like pressure from social media, from your peers, from family,
Mhm.
from, you know, so many different variables, and everyone telling you different versions of how to live life. So at the end of the day, it's like kind of like what a Gen Z needs is just kind of like helping them navigate the noise, right? Like just
Yeah.
kind of like make things like helping them find their own path
Mhm.
in a way that they also don't get in that web of noise and the influence that is surrounding them.
Yeah.
So I think that when they are and that's where like a very good like a purpose driven job helps, right? Like helps them stay focused, helps them work towards a cause. And I think some of these items, right, like timely feedback, right? I don't want to wait until the next queue for me to know what I did wrong and know that I was doing mistakes over and over and over again, right? It's almost like I feel ashamed that they don't tell me before. Uh, so yeah, I think some of these things are good, and the coaching might navigate areas that might go beyond just work life. Sometimes go also into other dimensions of their own life, how they like, cause like if at most, right, like I'm a Gen Z that has been working like 6 years, right? Like that's way more than the usual, but many of them are getting to know like their
Mhm.
work life and how to balance it. Many of them have never been in an office. Many of them
Yeah.
don't know the usual 9 to 5.
Mhm.
Like they are trying to figure out their own routine. What's productivity mean for them, right? It's like for you, it might be like, okay, I have this routine, I have this thing. For them, they have remote jobs, they have flexible offices, they have hybrid jobs. So it's kind of like, right? If they are given too much freedom, right? They have to, you have to take that marble into some that they need to be in shaped, right? In a way that they find their way of work, their rhythm.
Yeah.
Otherwise, right, with that much freedom and overwhelm, it can just be like extremely unproductive as well. So yeah, I think that's where, yeah, kind of like
Thanks.
coaching and low pressure environments help a lot.
Thanks, Ivan. Thanks, Ivan, because you being a Gen Zer can tell us from real experience what it feels to be so overwhelmed. And if Anne already shared that it is way too much, and you also touched somehow in this mentoring part that the, the older generations, we need to be more mentors and not, and what you were saying exactly, to let them find their way in this very, I would say, convoluted world, but do not direct them as how to do things, because they don't want to mirror the world that we have left for them, or for you in this case. So we do have a challenge of, yes, living all together and extracting the best traits of each generation, but also letting these younger people figure out by themselves with our mentorship that, their future lives, and hopefully they will be better than some of us have lived so far. So thank you very much. I think this is a wonderful discussion about how we all feel, and we have dealt with other peers of different generations, and you will see in a while that, as David was saying, we somehow share some basic valuable things. So let me move forward, and we can explore that. So there are several skills that we still need to work from a human side. The world has changed, we have said, but these are some of the main skills that we need to help develop in our Gen Zers. These plus leadership, active listening, customer focus, and adaptability. As mentors, we can assign mini projects, problem-solving challenges, stretch opportunities to accelerate learning, kind of what Ivan was saying. Remember, you need to be available for them, not just throwing them out to the lions and figure out for themselves. We as mentors have the responsibility to help them grow in terms of integrity, courage, resilience, and adaptability. Now, the news is the Generation Alpha is coming. And this generation, by 2028, they will be joining the workforce. They are not only digital natives, but AI natives. They will expect that the requests of our Gen Zers are already well embedded in the organization. And it is estimated that by 2028, 80% of the workforce will be in 2034, sorry. Millennials, Gen Zers, and Alpha will be 80% of the workforce. So that is also a good news, or different news for other generations, because the work will be mainly these newer generations. EY also made a generational survey last year, and they found that the recurring definition of culture across all of them is how to treat people. The definition of culture is how people treat each other. So no matter the generation, this is something that is helping for engagement. And there is something that we all share, no matter what are the ages or the generations. We all want flexibility. And it might be different, the flexibility that Ivan needs versus the one that Anna or David or Daniel need. We all want development, and none of us feel enough investment from companies in that development part. All of us want to be seen, recognized, and treated well. And if we look at this, we see that the difference are really in the life cycle, but not the values, the main values. So that is something that bonds us across the different generations, and that can make us a better community combined all together, because these are very basic and value-driven things that we want and we need to give to one another. So didn't include Gen Alpha here because they are still studying and whatnot, but soon enough they will be entering the workforce, and we need to make sure that the arena is ready for them to thrive. And there are also worries in across the different generations. For instance, baby boomers, they fear discrimination, age discrimination when looking for a job. And because we all live longer now, most of us are still wishing to be productive in the workspace. Gen X people are pragmatic, but they have a challenge because they have the pressures from the older generations and the ones from the younger generations. Millennials, I was telling you, they already saw that they didn't want the kind of leadership that their previous generations leaders had, but they haven't been able to implement the new one because of the pressure. And we are constantly working under pressure. And Gen Zers, we said they are already working and they already have managerial roles, but they burn out very much faster than us, older generations, and they burn out. The risk of burnout is at 25, and that's too young, because if you burn out at that age, you might think that you are failing, and that's not the case. But again, social pressure is helping to have these not very positive feelings. So if you bear with me, I would like you to close your eyes if you wish to do so. If not, just think yourself, what was the best leader that you ever had in your life? And also, I would like to ask you, what did they do differently? What are you doing differently to manage or to lead or to mentor your younger team members? And have you been able to keep up with the pressure and do these best practices, or also falling into the quick solutions and directing solutions instead of giving them time to think and find the answer or the way by themselves? And what do you think the repercussions of those actions were? So if you open your eyes, or if you want to just pause your thoughts and would like to share some of those ideas very quickly. Have you had any great leader that has helped you grow and develop and become who you are today?
Maybe I can start.
Thanks, David.
I have a good boss, not a great leader. Okay, that's different. But that good boss, when I was taken at the age of 34, I think 32, a huge team in Latam, he named me a coach for me. It was a HR consultancy guy, and he was a great leader for me. He helped me to navigate tough times. And I think that the mix of both a great boss and a great leader in terms of help me in, giving me guidance and a lot of stuff related to leadership was a great mix for me in order to grow and educate myself in terms to imitate those actions. I think that was my experience on that. Give me the I I enjoy the two, I think, mix of them in leadership, and I think that I grow a lot with the guidance of these two people at the same time.
Thanks, David. And have you tried to be that kind of figure, either the boss or the leader, to any of your younger team members?
Yeah, I know. Yes, of course, that I try to do my best of the learning phase that I have at that time, of course. But if you ask me, I think that day by day, yes, you try to manage the people differently. And I think that the good thing about a good leader is to try to make a leadership, personalized leadership. Each person try to leader differently. And that's the thing that I try to do, right? And not as a group. No, not thinking about the Gen Z or millennials have different type of. No, I think that each person try to do it differently, and I think that that's the most important thing that I learn and I talk to you guys is that there is no same leadership to everybody. I think that that's the one of the things that I learned, and it's difficult. It's time consuming, but if you wanted to be a good leader, maybe you have to do it. Personalized leadership. I don't know how to say in English, but I think that you guys understand me. Okay.
Yeah, and that's spot on, because not everyone is the same, and we need to adapt our styles to the needs of our people. Great. Any other comment before I close with a brief line? So, if there is one thing that I would like you to take with you today, is that you are mentors to your younger teams. And as David was saying, take the time to help them have this visible growth path. Be congruent with the purpose that you, at least you, but ideally the organization has, and don't make them live under stress. Help them self-regulate and learn how to do that, because stress isn't good for anyone, and much less for this generation, as we have discussed. So I think that's all what I wanted to share with you today. If you have any other question or reflection that you would like for us to discuss, please, this is the time. I think we have still some 5 minutes. Otherwise, we will give them you back.
First of all, thank you, Gabby, for making the discussion happen, because I think it's super important. Like, we are all facing teams with different people from different generations now, and we need to learn how to navigate on it. And I'd love to hear more insights from you all, because I think I also have many different people here from different generations. I appreciate the space.
Great. Thanks, Bia. And thanks everyone who has joined the session. And I look forward to talking to you again sometime soon. But in the meantime, have a good day, or rest of your day.
Thank you.
Yeah, but before we leave, can we all take a picture together?
Yes.
If you can, if the people that have the camera off can turn just for a few seconds. Thank you, I appreciate. I'm gonna count until 3, and then on the 3, you wait for more 3, so we make sure the screenshot happen.
Okay.
Let me. Okay, so 1, 2, 3.
I
I think you have it.